Hi there, and welcome to Riyadh. Today we're going to do a quick domestic flight on Saudi Arabia's second largest airline, a low-cost one, Flynas. To be frank, I was expecting, like a kind of an ordeal today. There's not a ton of content from Saudi Arabia, considering they've only recently opened for tourism, and the videos and trip reports that are out there all point to one common thread for domestic flights: haphazardness. So, in some regards, today's experience was dreadfully pleasant. As this is part of my Roots and Hub series, I also want to take a look at what Riyadh will soon become in the world of aviation, since it's the only city on Earth that I know of at the moment that is both getting a new airport and a new airline, all wrapped in a pretty purple bow. Before I get into all of that though, hi there, I'm Kevin, the Flip Flop Traveler. If there's one thing that I want you to know about this self-funded video, it's that my opinions are honest, my own, and unsponsored in any way. If you'd like to know more about the channel and how I do things, scan the QR code or click the link in the description to learn more. Have a look around the channel. There are hundreds of airline and hotel reviews to enjoy. This fantastically fuss-free Flynas flight begins now. We're checking in today at the airport's newest terminal, Terminal 5, which opened in 2016 and is used for domestic operations from Flynas Saudia and Flyadil. The last is the low-cost cousin of Saudia. Terminals 1 through 4 were built in the early 80s, and by the early 2010s, they were looking like they were built in the early 80s. So this new domestic experience was a breath of fresh air. Everything is very well laid out, with designated zones and security checks for each of the domestic carriers. The agents were very strict with carry-on weight though, so I checked in my bag. Last year, Riyadh saw 32 million passengers, and as part of the country's Saudi Vision 2030, they're planning to build an airport over and around this one that will sextuple the annual capacity, bringing it up to 180 million passengers per year by the time it's finished. Let me show you what's in store. Right now, we're down here in this small little terminal, and lucky for them, this 57 square kilometer plot of land has plenty of space to spare. So they're building this. Designed by Foster & Partners, the master plan calls for a total of 4 terminals and 6 parallel runways. Says Foster, quote, "The master plan brings together a revolutionary design concept that prioritizes the passenger experience while creating a new gateway for Riyadh," unquote. It is kind of funny how building a big rectangle is revolutionary, but I look forward to see the first phase of it, which is due to open by 2030, with a targeted capacity of 120 million passengers by then, up to 180 by 2050. The interesting thing about building this giant new airport though, is that not only will Saudia, the country's flag carrier, not operate from the new terminal, they'll be pulling out of the city altogether. Imagine that, the flag carrier no longer serving the capital. In its place, we'll have Riyadh Air, a new airline which hasn't begun operating yet, but is due to be based in its namesake city. It will operate alongside Saudia with goals for 100 destinations across 6 continents. So far they have 60 A321s and 39 787s on order, and multiple codeshare agreements already in place, even though they're not due to begin flying until next year. The airline will be led by Tony Douglas, the CEO of Etihad during their fantastic transformational phase in 2018 to 2022. I've read loads of stories and articles questioning the logic of creating a new airline rather than just expanding Saudia, and personally, I disagree with nearly all of it. For the most part, national flag carriers usually fall into one of 2 categories: the Deltas, Air Chinas, and Air Indias of the game, with multiple hubs serving hundreds of millions if not billions of people. The other end of the scale are national carriers serving smaller populations with one major hub, a la Ethiopian, Air France, and Aeromexico. There really isn't that much in between, simply because it's a bit of a logistical headache to make it work well. Lufthansa, Vietnam Airlines, Air Canada, and currently Saudia are 4 of just a handful of airlines which have true dual hubs with, relatively speaking, smaller populations. Combine that with the fact that there are simply a lot of people that don't have an interest in flying Saudia, and so I can see the benefit. As part of their giant project for 2030, there are loads of new resorts being built on the Red Sea. I've heard whispers that perhaps alcohol will be permitted at those resorts in the future. So my theory is, Saudia will be based in Jeddah for some connecting traffic with a focus on religious tourism, while Riyadh will focus mostly on transiting passengers and will perhaps be a bit more modern and less restrictive. We shall see. I'll talk a bit about Flynas in a bit, but it's interesting that they have their own lounge here at the airport, which I accessed with Priority Pass. It's light, bright, spotless, and has a surprisingly comprehensive selection of food on offer. It was essentially a members-only sandwich and salad shop, which I enjoyed. So, Flynas was the first private airline established in Saudi Arabia back in 2007, when it was named Nas Air. They changed to Flynas in 2013 and have expanded fairly rapidly since. They fly to a total of 90 destinations, 17 of which are domestic, across 41 countries, though many of these are seasonal or charter-only cities. Currently, they have 60 aircraft in the fleet with 120 on order, including 15 A330 Neos. They currently lease 4 A330s for Hajj flights, but will be replacing them with the new Neos. For now, let's get on board our beautiful turquoise plane. As we head down the jet bridge, I'll put up the flight stats. I was warmly greeted as I boarded and was guided to my seat for today, 22F. Flynas operates a Euro-style business class of sorts, but the only real difference in the seats is that there's an adjustable headrest. Fancy. Exit rows are normally my go-to on low-cost carriers, as 28 or 29 inches of seat pitch is just truly uncomfortable for me. But Flynas has a standard 30 inches of pitch, which is pretty good for a low-cost carrier, so I went with just a standard seat. They're basic seats, but pretty smart looking. These look and feel like a slightly fancier version of the seats that Frontier and a few other ultra-low-cost carriers use, but Flynas definitely has more padding. And the contouring of the seat back makes for what feels like actually a little bit more than 30 inches. If you're enjoying the video, please go ahead and click that like button. All of my videos are self-funded, so clicking that like button and subscribing really does support the channel. If you're looking for lots more information about my travel in general, weekly posts, advanced itineraries, travel advice, and the like, I'd invite you to check out my Patreon or YouTube channel memberships. We pushed back as the manual safety demo was performed and taxied to the runway. The spool up, takeoff, and airport stats are coming up next. So you'll know that this part of the trip was during Ramadan. Every airline from the region that I've flown on served food during Ramadan. Someone else can explain it better than me, but it is permitted to eat while flying. Whether people choose to or not is another thing. When I booked this flight, I chose and paid for a meal, a meat kofta to be precise. But there was no food loaded on the plane. The crew came down the aisle with bottles of water. When they passed by a second time, I asked about the pre-ordered meals, and I was told, quote, "There are no meals today, there are no pre-orders," and she just walked away. Okay. Another passenger in my row across the aisle seemed to be just as confused. He asked the next time someone passed down the aisle and was brushed off just the same as I was. So, in honor of my meal that wasn't, let's admire this stock photo meat kofta. And I would just call out the fact that the lounge that I was in, that had tons of food, was a Flynas Lounge on the same day in Ramadan. So, it's not that. Really kind of sucks not to have the meal, since on low-cost carriers, that's like the only thing to actually show besides the seat. Oh well. Perhaps we'll revisit the bottle of water for 3 seconds. Luckily, it was a beautiful day, and the desert views kinda made up for it. The landing and airport stats are coming up. So, domestic flying in Saudi? Easy peasy. Flynas in general? Seems promising. A bit more customer service training as it relates to food that was paid for but not loaded? Perhaps. All that said, as we just roam around the tarmac, I'd have no problem flying them again. It's always interesting to me when I'm in a country or a city that I thought would be really strict about filming anything, and then you just get here and you're just strolling around the tarmac, minding your own business, with no one of authority in sight. So I hope you enjoyed this trip report and mini preview of what's to come for Riyadh. If you did, please be sure to click the like button and subscribe with notifications on for 2 new videos each week. I'll see you next time from Phuket. Oh, and as always, thanks for watching until the end.